Oh, nice. It's right at the White House. But yeah, I'm just sad that this has come to an end and this is the end of Groth's story. He has a little cameo in Thronebreaker, and apparently, they're, they're fine with him having a cameo in that next Witcher game. But I saw some line like that in a thing. But I know. I just kind of want this game to keep going on and on. I'm really in love with it.
Might want to look around some.
Can interrupt him by jumping. Hmm. All right. I keep seeing people saying like how bad Witcher One is, and how like they're just gonna skip it and the like. Hmm? But I found Witcher One fine. Yeah, it's a bit janky, but you know, it's not unplayable. And you just got to get used to the rhythm of the combat. And even then, you can just spam, Igni and problem solved. And like most enemies, even bosses, crumble to it. You do have to get a bit in for Igni to get that viable, but it is a valid tactic. So yeah, it's Witcher 1 gets a worse rap than it deserves. It really does. Actually, I think I might do a new game plus and get what's his treasure back. What not lie to what's his face? I can't remember what it's called. Remember back with Dandelion and Siri, their plans and the like. Maybe not lie to him so I can do that quest. But I missed out on it first time around. Well, that went well. Only raids are a pain in the fucking arse. Fine, whatever. Oh, that's that done. Nice and easy.
Damn, you're ugly.
Okay, let's see. Larig. Alright. Drop. Hope. Drop. Oh, I believe the cat again. I can't just hop down. Femurs of piss here will just die. Ironic. white wolf with the white wolf hide. Or fitting. This village was once famed across all of Skellig for the fact that it was inhabited exclusively by women, older men having died during one raid or another. I missed out on a quest here too. I progressed too far with the side quest for the Witcher guy, and ended up missing out on freeing people here. Again, if I do a new game plus, I can easily fix that. So yeah, I'm kind of inclined towards doing so. But again, this new game plus thing won't be done for ages. This has gone on for a long. This Let's Play for Ye has gone on for a long time. For me, I've recorded it for a long time. It won't be for a good few years since like this ends for Ye before I get back to it. For two reasons. One, I need a break from the game. Like, I can't reach. If it was just new content, I could probably go on for a while yet. But retreading old ground, not fun. I'm not really into that. That's why I'm struggling right now with Path of Exile. I was basically sleepwalking it earlier. So yeah, not fun for me. And then for Ye, it's if you aren't interested in watching Witcher. Like for example, I was watching a ton of Kokoski videos before, but for the last like year, he's been doing, not quite a year, but like a quarter of a year, he's been doing Baldur's Gate 2. I plan on let's playing that myself. And while he's doing an evil playthrough, and I'm doing it, I'll probably be doing a good playthrough, I still don't want. It's spoiled on me. I've watched his playthrough of the first game before, and while it'll be interesting to see like his continuation and the like, I want to play through myself, relatively spoiler free. So it's just like that's all in that slot on his channel. That's all he's been releasing for the last age. Again, it's not a criticism. It's just simply this is what he's releasing. It's for reasons. It's not for me. And that's all we have for an age. So if you're not into Witcher, you've firstly had to put up with over a year of Witcher footage, like 2 years of Witcher footage. Don't want to inflict that on you again so soon. And you've already, even if you like The Witcher, you've already seen it once. I'll give it a break before going into the new game plus mode. Can I be honest? That was the initial point I was making. My mouth just kind of kept going, and I made the other point as well. Just basically, you've already seen a playthrough of Witcher 3. Doing another one too soon is pointless. So, like, that was the initial point I was getting at. The other one just kind of started coming out my mouth and I went along with it. Like, often I say, I don't have the gift of the gab. The gift of the gab has me. So yeah, basically, I'll probably do a new game plus of this years late, in a couple years time. Hold on. Yeah, I'll probably do a new game plus of this in a couple years time. I don't want to retread old ground too soon. You've already seen it. You probably won't be interested in seeing it again too soon, or you want to take a break and see some other stuff, some new stuff. Who knows? Maybe I'll record enough, juggle it in such a way I have enough recorded that I can show you a new game plus of Witcher 3 and other stuff. Maybe I'll do that. But again, that still won't be for a couple years after I finished this, at least on my side. Because I wouldn't be interested in playing this again from the start altogether too soon. I already know the twists and turns and the like. I'm not really great at let's playing things because of that. Replaying things full stop because of that. For whatever reason, we're not getting any map page here. Not page, any map here. I also want to get back to doing more time and then start working on like XCOM or something. I've been watching Kiko's open XCOM playthrough, and I really want to actually go really want to give that a try myself. It feels like this is a riddle, but puzzle, but I'm not getting the other bit of it. Okay, there's more over here. But yeah, I want to try the original XCOM myself. Ow. Ow. Sorry, jab of pain. But yeah, I would like to give it a try myself at some stage. But it'll be sometime after I get more time finally done. That's been dragged on for longer than this has. Like seriously longer than this has. I started it October, quite a few years back. And, you know, I haven't played it at all in 2019, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I've played it at all in 2019. Okay, so that was that. Okay, you know what? Let's go out and actually hit the other marker. Because, who knows, maybe that was completely not part of it, or maybe I just missed a chest in there. But anyway, I don't think I've touched Witcher at all in 2019. Sorry, not Witcher. More, damn it. I don't think I've touched more time at all in 2019, and I'm not doing it the game justice. You know, it is actually a good game, I just built my team really poorly. The reason why I went on hiatus was I kind of, well, firstly the stress of the game kind of got to me. And secondly, I had to grind, and I guess maybe it caused me to lose a bit of interest. The reason I had to grind is I built my team rather poorly. By that I mean I went for all parries, all parry tanks, except for my archers who were trained in dodge. But those are my archers. I had to end up getting an impressive on level 8 as my dodge tank. Though I'm realizing now I could have simply got a new hero or two and leveled them as a dodge tank instead, rather than choosing an impressive. I don't know why I didn't think of that. As far as I can tell, I've done all of the treasure hunts, and yet no achievement. Regardless, I've done all I know of, so let's head back to capture the castle. But, yeah, I don't know why I didn't just choose a new hero, slot them in, and level them instead of, you know, leveling an impressive. And I think if I'd chosen the hero right, it could have probably performed better as a dodge tank than the impressive could. Like, the impressive, I don't think it was really built with that in mind. Well, I think some of the heroes could have, you know, pulled that role off better. So I'm a little puzzled why I didn't do it. I might have had a reason, or I might have just not done it. I have no idea. But yeah, I will go. Should go back and get that done. I'm very nearly done it. There's like 2 missions left, 3 maybe. Basically meaning there's like the second half of it left. There's only 8 missions to each campaign. 8 main missions, story missions. I love how bright and colorful this place is. It's actually a rather jarring change between here and like the rest of the game. Like, you compare here to Scoia'tael and it looks a lot different.
Where to storm GotY? Expect armed resistance. The strength of the fortifications remains unknown. Your foes have committed treason. You fight them for the good of the duchy. Captain de la Tour will give you the details.
Yes, Witcher.
I know, suddenly different
Talk
voice.
to the commander.
I'm gonna want to go upstairs, see the murder site. On principle.
Geralt, good you're here. Ready to attack Duntine?
Need a bit longer.
Do not tarry. Time is not our friend.
Says that, but I've been tarrying pretty hard. I just popped over to Scoia'tael, however long, you know, however far away. Orders for flour. Orders for next week. The Bochan Beauclair Bakery, 8 sacks of wheat flour, 6 sacks of rye. Catalango Estate, 4 sacks of wheat, thickly ground, sack of oat bran. Well, actually, yeah, maybe I could. Bran flakes might be nice. I know sometimes I get a longing for them. Something about them just tastes nice to me. Her Grace Aunt Henrietta's Palace, 12 sacks of wheat flour, the finest variety, 12 sacks of rye flour, the finest variety. Ducal Equerry, 8 sacks of oats, Town Bakery, 10 sacks of barley. Let it be known there exists no being more wondrous than the giant centipede. Verily I say unto you, blind is he who fails to see their evolutionary advantage over all other species. After all, is there another creature so perfectly adjusted to living under the ground as well as on top of it? Another being able to pout through passages invisible to the naked eye and construct stunning subterranean cities. Verily I say unto you, let us bow before the divinity of a thousand limbs before it is too late. Let us shelter beneath the chitin thorax on which the swords of our enemy shall break. Let us bring nourishment for the great mandible. Let us devote ourselves to these wondrous giants, these titanic insects, these skelementromorphs. Let us resemble Shelmars, their humble servants, who make it possible for this grand species to become even stronger and even greater. Our toil shall be rewarded, I promise you this. Praise the great mandible! That just reminded me of someone made a millipede waifu. Think centaur, but the animal half is a millipede. And they did like art of a guy, they're cuddling, and he's like wrapped in her legs, wrapped in her torso. It's long, leg attached part. I know the long part of her body with all the legs on it. He's just wrapped in that. Think like a guy coiled with a lamia coiled around him, but it's millipede. I think I also saw art of a guy with a lamia coiled around him. Again, I can't help but think the one thing that ruins all that on me. Like, that could be so hot, but it's just the idea, like, they go outside, it's like we wear shoes going outside. Like, I have the same shoes that, some people take we all wear shoes going outside. Some take them off at the door, some wear them in around the house. Like, I have them off right now, but I'm sitting on my seat with the shoes right in front of me. But we all take them off. The lamia would have to be scrubbed off, and that could be hot in its own right. Every time they come in or out of the house. Every time. You don't want to get, street dirt in your bed, You don't want to get that. Like, ruins the whole thing. They have to be like neat and just like shut in at home. Female me, basically. Well, I exaggerate. I do go out. Just, not any of the ones listed above. But anyway. The Adventures of Spikey and a White named Franconi. Once upon a time, in a small mound near Vermento Vineyard, there lived a White named Franconi. Amicable by nature, he spent his days in the mound cooking various kinds of soups. Not that he was particularly fond of soups. It was his beloved pet, a bargeist named Spikey, that slurped them up greedily. And so they sat there side by side, Franconi the White and Spikey the bargeist, cooking soups made of decaying bones, withered weeds, and if they managed to swipe some metal nails, their favourite delicacy. One day Franconi heard two gravediggers talk of a certain man in Welt who kept various kinds of cheese in his cellar. Cheese soup sounded like a delectable treat to Franconi, so he snuck into the noble's cellar and stole the biggest cheese wheel there was. When he got home, Franconi started slowly melting the cheese in his favourite pot. The stench was so awful, Sparky ran off and refused to go back to the mound. That the already terrible state of affairs, the smell of cheese permeated everything, so Spiky and Franconi had to pack their things and move. Moral of the story is simple. If you're cooking a cheese soup, make sure the cheese you choose is not blue. The Ducal Chronicle, 2nd Amended Edition. Ducal Journal, Tome LV1. It's the 7th, but I don't know what L stands for. Lamas, Sylvain, 1268. Excerpts. 2nd edition amended. In the month preceding celebrations surrounding the festival of Vat, the ducal couple and a delegation of notables embarked on a neighborly visit to the court of Queen Scoia'tael of Sintra. The visit had both a social and political dimension, for the Dutch was hoping Queen Scoia'tael would follow the decrees of international protocol and repay with a visit of her own, preferably during the above-mentioned festival, thus gracing the celebration with her royal presence. The local couple was accompanied by their daughter Henrietta. It is worth mentioning here that the infant was sprouting like a beanpole and shall not belong and shall not belong and it shall not be belong before it will be necessary to find her husband. Time will surely add to her charms, as her character and imagination she's not lacking in either quality in the least. Van Grott's amazing anti-Felder stratagem. Felders are a vile and unsophisticated variety of vampire. They're unable to run properly, unable to bear direct sunlight, and are generally none too wise. Some Felders hunt alone, whereas others prefer to attack in groups. Perhaps it is a matter of instinct. Having sensed blood, they amass the size of the victim and, if necessary, summon their kin. The only strong suit of these leeches is their ability to leap towards a potential victim. Fighting Felders is no different than fighting any other kind of bloodsucker. Apart from the obvious, such as garlic, buckthorn, and sunlight, hunters should stock up on silver. A lit torch may prove helpful as well. Me, My Panther, and I, by Abigail Leth. As a young adept to the art of medicine, I was once asked by my mentor, Nurse Hatched, there's a thing, Nurse Hatchet, but I know nothing about her. I just know that's a character's name. To gather some herbs needed for poultices. I set out for the woods and sought ripe specimens, when all of a sudden a juniper shrub began to swish and sway. Must be a leshen or other monster, I thought, enraged by my insolent theft of the forest treasures, I thought. Luckily, it turned out to be a beast. The beast was no leshen, but a little panther. Full of pity, I decided to share the bread and dried meat I brought in my bundle with the cub. From that moment on, I brought the panther something to eat every day, and every day it waited for me next to the juniper. A year passed, and the panther grew so big I was afraid to approach it, so I just throw bits of meat and leave as quickly as possible. Then a sickness left me bedridden for a month. When I was finally back on my feet, I went to the woods, to the juniper shrub. My beloved panther, now big as a horse, only roared from afar. I bolted. Panthers are beautiful creatures, and they're fascinating as well, but I value my life, and that is that. Observation has shown that kikimores are the most organized of the post-conjunction insectoids. Their workers follow the orders of warriors, they're all subjects of the queen, which seems to control the behavior of all members of the swarm, even though she remains hidden deep in the ground. Considering the small size of the species' cerebral ganglia, which functions as a brain, one may hypothesize that kikimores possess a sort of hive mind, making them similar to ants. Journal of Research into Archospores, Day 1, stumbled upon an extremely curious species, the venomous archospore. As I've read that before. VAT. Damn it. Ducal Journal, first edition. The Ducal Chronicle. Ducal Chronicle. In the month preceding the celebration surrounding the festival of VAT, Ducal couple and a delegation. Delegation notables embarked on a neighborhood visit to the court of so-and-so. The visit had both a social and political dimension, for the Duchess was hoping Queen Scoia'tael would follow the dictates of international protocol and repay with a visit of her own, for during the above-mentioned festival, thus celebrating the gracing celebration with a royal presence. The ducal couple was accompanied by both their daughters, Sinana and Henrietta. Sinana was cut out of the second edition. And there's the whole bit of it. And Henrietta was hyped up in the second edition. Huh. Politics. The ducal couple was accompanied by both their daughters, Sienna and Henrietta. It's worth mentioning here that both infants are sprouting like beanpoles, so it might be long before it will be necessary to find them husbands. In case of the elder daughter, Sienna, it should prove not a problem, as suitors will flock from all over the civilized world for a chance to be the husband to the future Duchess, especially when they see her portrait, which will not even require much embellishment. Things are somewhat different in the case of young Henrietta, who's overly thin and furthermore auburn-haired. The hope remains, however, that time will add to our charms. As for character imagination, neither girl is lacking in the least. It is lacking in either quality in the least. Yeah, they, Yes, that's... I'm glad I noticed that. I could have missed it because I'm just, like, trying to chug through these. Curious customs of the Sisontes excerpt. Where have all the heroic and selfless knights gone? I can already... I know, it just reminds me of, the line, I'm not sure how often it's actually said IRL, but, where all of the good men gone? Yeah. Are there truly noble, like, Ramon of Gishon, or Martinus de la Plaque, a thing of the past? Though they maintain a facade of independence and altruism, the knights errant of Toussaint of our day are paid, and by the Duchess herself. So I ask, is that noble? Is that dignified? Should a knight, a nobleman, after all, receive payment for his heroic deeds? Is he but a mercenary, or, pardon my Nazare, a ploughing witcher? Shouldn't the tears of joy of a rescued damsel suffice as a reward? I simply cannot understand it. To paraphrase the weighty words of the wise Rene de Hospitaller, such fools, those Sisonti. Catechans and monograph. Before we sink our teeth, so to speak, into the analysis of the catechan, creature to whom the present work is dedicated, by way of introduction, let me present to our less experienced readers what exactly vampires are, and what they are not. To our greatest pleasure, a great many myths concerning these creatures have arisen over the years. The popular tales about them have served only to make popular superstitions and falsehoods. The common folk's imagination, vampires are dead men and women risen from their graves, wraiths driven by an unquenchable thirst for warm blood. Yet nothing can be further from the truth. These creatures have first came to be on another world, arrived in our centuries ago, and have since learned to live among men and evolved at their side. Widespread belief that vampires must drink human blood in order to survive is flat out wrong. Though they do, in fact, often partake in their vital fluids, human blood affects their physiology as alcohol does ours. A vampire bite does not turn its victim into a vampire. State of affairs which would in fact be counter to logic, for it would mean the world would soon fill with vampires as they multiply at an exponential rate. Running water presents no barrier to vampires, not even if it's cold, for vampires are immune to the forces of both heat and cold. For now, the most important matter. Vampires have learned to live in the light of our sun, which is not harmful to them in the least, though they will absolutely never shimmer or glisten when struck by the sun's rays. Of fire and stone. Sephira Mundi is divided into 4 elemental planes: the plane of earth, the plane of water, the plane of air, and the plane of fire. Earth and water form together form our planet, around which circulates air. Above air stretches the aether, fiery air, or in short, fire. Past fire lie the subtle sidereal heavens, known collectively as the firmamentum, which are of a spherical nature. That is where the errata sidera, the drifting stars, and the fixa sidera, fixed stars, reside. The elemental planes are inhabited by creatures which can be summoned by use of magic. They are gnomes, sylphs, salamanders, Ondinites, all which belong to a category commonly known as Elementium in the singular. The fall of Hubert Belast. In the sun-drenched duchy of Toussaint, near the Cornata vineyard, lay the estate of Baronet Hubert Belasad, an honourable knight in the service of Duchess Adamanta, aid Martha. Hubert served as a knight-errant for many years, and vows were his greatest delight. He swore to do things so grand they curdled the blood of other knights. Duchess finally recognized his courage and not only awarded him an honorary title, also granted him land. Hubert thus had a place of his own on which to settle down and wait till his time came with dignity. He could find himself a wife and sire descendants as befits every self-respecting hero. Unfortunately, once he laid down his sword and shield, Bernard Besant began to seek out other diversions, and so he indulged in games of card and dice, and even bet on dogfights. Then one day, when fortune abandoned him, he decided to bet not one or two gold pouches, but in fact his family's entire estate. And he lost everything. To add to his already unhappy state of affairs, Hubert Bellisant, who was not one to take defeat lightly, flew into a fit of blind passion, donned his armour and enlisted at once. Fortune smiled no more favourably upon him at war than it did at play, and now found its way into Hubert's leg, and then he died of gangrene. A code duello. Presented below is a set of rules for duelling which every self-respecting gentleman should follow. Though their nature is that of an honourable agreement, failure to respect them shall bring infamy and shame to the name of the doer, including from all respectable social circles. This code applies throughout the whole of the Duchy of Toussaint. Both parties present their seconds. Each of the parties is entitled to 1 second. The parties decide whether duel ends when first blood has been drawn or when one of the parties surrenders. Let it be remembered that in Toussaint, by order of Her Enlightened Highness, duels fought till the last blood are punished by immediate imprisonment. The challenge party selects the weapons for the duel. The challenger is obliged to accept the choice of the challenged party. The parties duel according to the rules agreed upon. Seconds ensure a proper course of the duel. When the duel is over, the seconds announce the winner and the loser. Note, it's strictly forbidden to put forward any claims, blood revenge included, based upon defeat in the duel. Duel is commonly regarded as an instance putting a definitive end to dispute. The tenebrous wilderness of Cade Muckfid. In the northern region of the Duchy of Toussaint, past the Blesseur River, lies the forest of Cade Muckfid, a druidic sanctuary which, as a result of treaties signed with the duchy's rulers, enjoys full autonomy in its internal affairs. The forest is one of the main reserves of the Beauclair oak, a significant component of the local cooperage industry. With ecological balance in mind and following the agreements between the Coopers Guild and the Flamenca Leader's Circle, the oak felling in the forest is currently subject to strict supervision. In 1267, the Flamenca granted asylum to the Druids from Cade Du in Angren. Fighting broke out within sanctuary. The bandits who tried to escape justice in the forest were burnt alive on wicker hags to set an example. Since then, the borders of Cade Muckfid have been protected by strong magical barriers, and to be honest, I would not recommend visiting this region without an invitation from the Flamenca. From Patron Filsen's Guide to Toussaint. The Guide to the Vineyards of Toussaint, Volume 2, the Blesseur Valley. For those who find the wines of the Scoia'tael Valley too dull, I strongly recommend the lesser known but still outstanding brands produced in the Blesseur Valley. Let us start with the amazing Côte de Blessure, produced at the Pomerol Vineyard. I particularly recommend the 1260 to 1263 vintages, with a distinctly rich flavour. Looking elsewhere, the nearby Zurban Castle offers the dry Casal du Neuf, whereas Nouragus and Sancerre, located in the northern parts of Toussaint, specialise in red wines and jointly produce and export the wine known in the north as Toussaint Red. Exquisite rosé wine could once be found at Casal de Heya, but ever since its owner tragically passed away, the vineyard has fallen into decay. Guide to Vineyards of Toussaint, Volume 1, to Saint-Hilaire Valley. While in the stunning Duchy of Toussaint, one should not forget to visit Castle Rivallo, whose grapes lend their vibrant flavour to wines such as Arvois, Friano, Pomano, and the famous Est. Should white wine be one's beverage of choice, I wholeheartedly recommend the excellent offerings of two fiercely competing vineyards, Conata and Vermento. If one seeks Beauclair White, popular in the north, one should seek out the Casella Torcella vineyard, which produces and exports it. Unfortunately, severe economic crisis led to bankruptcy of several distinguished vineyards, such as Corvo Bianco, known as Gwyn Corbin in Outerspeak. Oh, their supreme Separamento, and Tofu. Let us hope. Let us hope each and every one of them finds a new, passionate owner to restore them to their former glory. Scoia'taels through the ages. For many years, it was erroneously believed that Scoia'taels were simply wyverns in their highest stage of development. One scholar whose completion of an academic course of study must have been the result of no small miracle, heatedly defended this point of view in a scientific work whose title I shall mercifully withhold. His main line of reasoning was absurd and completely parallel drawn between the development cycles of Scoia'tael and Paris brassicae, also known as the cabbage butterfly. The Scoia'tael, claimed the author, is nothing but a fully grown wyvern that has developed fire glands. Utter rubbish. Let it be known once and for all that Charles Von Lane is a filthy fopdoodle and an uneducated knucklehead. A Scoia'tael is not by any means the same beast as a wyvern. Master Faramond's thoughts on elfin architecture. Nowhere in the entire world can one find better preserved relics of the gory days of the Ancient, but naturally by the entire world, I in fact mean the areas which have entered man's jurisdiction. Toussaint's architecture obviously could not hold a candle to the wonders of Dol Batana. That is in no way meant to detract from of the gory of the ruins of Termes, the old amphitheater, or Arteac, the one-time summer residence of Toussaint's kings. More than any of these, however, it is the palace which captures one's eyes with its torn page. Spacious terraces, seemingly enclosed by open-work extradas with rows of intricate tracery, and pinnacles crowned with spiked crotchets. One may admire them through legions of ogvo windows, trajectories of which are often decorated with the floor arrangements so typical of the culture of the ancient. This style is especially prominent in its buttresses and niches. Gwent to history. Gwent, for many a diverting game of cards, or for others a noble pursuit, for some a crippling addiction which devours every coin and every waking moment. These last can be found most frequently among the dwarves, the game's inventors and most passionate devotees. Their devotion extends to Gwent's paraphernalia, its cards most of all, which they craft with great care and skill. The cards printed by dwarven masters are often considered miniature works of art. In past times they devoted equal attention to whittling the clubs, which contestants often kept at their sides, to bash each other about the head with in case of an argument. As brawls grew less common, the clubs became implied threats rather than used weapons, and gradually fell into disuse and near oblivion. Today, Gwent players can be found almost everywhere, from the Scoia'tael, where the game was introduced by the druid Ermine, Mousesack, to the Northern Realms and the Nilfgaardian Empire. In Gwent, the play of cards mimics the dueling of two armies. The playing field is divided into parts, each split into 3 rows. The nearest to the centers stands units who fight at close quarters. Behind them, archers and other such ranged attackers. Furthest back, machines and creatures used for siege purposes. Both players wield decks made of a minimum of 22 cards and a maximum of 10 special, and each also must contain a leader card. The player who wins the coin toss, originally the dwarf, whose wife has the longest beard, plays first. Each player draws at random 10 cards from his deck, and then is allowed to redraw 2 of those cards before the laying of cards begins. Each round is won by the player who has played cards of the greatest value. The first to achieve 2 victorious rounds wins, meaning a maximum of 3 rounds are played. Winner's prize is agreed upon by players for each match. Most often the wager is a bounty of coin or rare card. The heart of the player's armies, the unit cards, come in 3 types: close combat, ranged, siege units. Fuck it. Heredin Brack Glass. Alright. Taxpayer in good standing diploma. bit more to read. Just also figuring that if the game's gonna be ending, then I might want to finish reading everything first, then go on to the ending. Famous Redanian dynasties. Von Egrid. The dynasty's founder, Stephen von Egrid, was a simple huntsman. He was knighted by Herbert the Quarrelsome in thanks for saving the life of Prince Vesemir, later King Vesemir, known as the Just. Dynastic estate, Buckhaven region, Huntington Manor, incorporating the largest ballroom in Redania. Dynastic beast, Crane. Notable representatives of Verdank von Ergrid, Royal Cupbearer, Hussein von Ergrid, Abbess of the Order of Mother Melitalian Reeb, Klaus von Ergrid, known as the Blue Knight, victor of 14 knightly tournaments. Von Estenik, Hans von Estenik, the founder of the dynasty, purchased his knighthood in 1085 after making fortune in furs and pelts trade. Dynastic estate, Gabali region, Estenic Manor, incorporating the largest private library in the Northern Realms. Dynastic beast, Beaver. Notable representative,